I would say are quite rational, and I try to be as neutral as I can and kind of take into consideration all kinds of perspectives on a movie and business stuff. So I try and do them in a professional way. This is not one of them. This is going to be a very subjective, very, very subjective and personal take on my experience of Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. So, welcome back to Neverland, where today we're going to discuss Fantastic Beasts and where to find them, which of course came out, or is coming out today in a couple of countries, and then came out yesterday in a couple of others, and here it came out on Wednesday. So I know that most people like Fantastic Beasts, which, as a person who loves the Potter franchise dearly and wants to see it succeed, that's great. I'm really happy. I realize there's criticism. I've read a lot of reviews by critics who think that story structure isn't perfect in the movie, who are not very happy with the actors or the characters or both in combination. I've read loads of fan reviews, obviously, and a lot of them are complaining that the movie isn't super accurate, which, partly is true. If you've read Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the actual book, like the actual side book to the Potter series, you might have read that Newt actually graduated there from Hogwarts, whereas here he's expelled from Hogwarts. But that's fine. I think I would say Jo can change her mind on characters that are, at the end of the day, hers. Not really a problem that I have with this. Just generally, the complaints that I've read didn't really strike a chord with me. There are a couple of things, two things to be exact, that bother me personally, and I think I should get into those before I start with my general opinion of the movie. Look, this is a Fantastic Beasts mug. I've bought all the merch. Maybe I shouldn't have. No, that's not true. It's fine. It's fine. I like Fantastic Beasts. By the way, I like Fantastic Beasts. It's a fine movie. Don't. So complicated. So, this is quite personal. I, like many, many Potterheads, have found something in the wizarding world that, gave me a chance to escape from what I would say was kind of a very difficult childhood or youth in general. Lots of Potterheads, like not Harry Potter fans who mildly enjoy the series, but actual Harry Potter fans, like fanatics, like freaks. A lot of them feel this way. A lot of people have used Harry Potter as way to escape their horrible daily lives and kind of dive into this universe, which has its faults as well and has its horrible things as well, but at the same time is so inherently positive and kind of helps you get through the day. Harry and his friends are my family. They're my actual family. And unlike many, many other fans, actually, I've never had a problem welcoming more characters to this family. Cursed Child, for example. I've never had a problem with the general idea of Cursed Child, and lots of people did. And same goes for Fantastic Beasts. When we got to know Newt properly, in terms of pictures and descriptions, when we got to know the general premise, Tina, Queenie, Jacob, I was so happy. I was absolutely exhilarated. And, the closer it came and the more we found out, more excited I got, because it's just new things and new people and new stories, and I want all of that. I'm absolutely up for that, and as I've said in my Cursed Child review already, I'm happy to see the story continue, not just for me or for my generation, but for younger children. So, the release date came closer and closer, and, reviews started popping up, and most of them were good. A lot of sources that I really trust absolutely loved the film. My friends started seeing them, a couple of them, bit before me, and they really loved the movie, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good. This is not like a child where I'm kind of trying to fight against the hate of the fandom, but I get to be happy because everyone is happy about it, and I was That's just such a great feeling. Because you don't feel like the odd one out in your own habitat in a way. And then I saw it on Wednesday and had a very emotional reaction to it. And I would not necessarily say that this emotional reaction was super positive. And that is probably due to two major reasons. Reason number one is Fantastic Beasts medium. It seems that I am not a fan of stories of the wizarding world being told through visual media. I didn't notice that this much with Cursed Child. Mostly I think because I knew all of the characters already and these were just different continuations. But here with Fantastic Beasts, these were new people and a new story. And I got to know them via the visual medium of film. What I appreciate so much about Harry Potter, the series, the actual book series, is its love for detail, its complexity, its rich descriptions, long, intricate dialogues, insight into people's inner world, emotions. That is something that I've always loved so much about Harry Potter. When you read these books, even though you have a third person perspective and you get mostly Harry's point of view, you think you know these characters, they're your actual friends. I don't think this is possible with a story of that scale through the medium of film. And it wasn't with Fantastic Beasts for me. A movie or a play can give you details to a certain extent, but apparently not to my satisfaction. There are always a lot of characters and their lives that you have to explain, that their feelings, where they're coming from, their points of view. And I'm not saying they didn't do that in Fantastic Beasts, just not in a way that it took 20 pages. That's just not how I operate when it comes to the wizarding world. I need detail. I need to understand these people to properly get into it, I think. It didn't feel like the whole story. It didn't feel like I was experiencing it all. I felt like it felt like I was watching an adaptation of a really good book. Which is of course funny because it is a spin-off of a movie adaptation. And then in relation to that, because it is a spin-off of the most successful movie franchise in the world, obviously you can't do things completely different. It's the same people working on it. It's not like this is a new movie 50 years later, but it's like, 5 years later. So, obviously they kept a couple of things in there that were the case in the movies that I just never really liked, like sloppy magic, for example. Just the way that magic is visualized and explained. I've never been a fan of that. That's just one example of many things that I didn't necessarily enjoy about the movie series Harry Potter. But that they obviously took over because you want continuation. And again, I get that as a storyteller. I understand why you would do that. As a fan who never really liked this in the first place, I'm sad that I have to see it again, especially because really, Fantastic Beasts is kind of canon now. And that makes me wonder, are these weird sloppy things canon? So, the medium of film, not something that I necessarily need, apparently, when it comes to Harry Potter. It's something that I will tolerate, maybe mildly enjoy, but I do not want it as my main source for information and story and characters and emotions. Problem number 2 is the collective movie-going experience, which so weird because you think that's a great thing, that's a good thing. You all get to experience it together on the first day, which means that, a lot of other fans are in the theatre and you're gonna be emotional together. No, I have no interest in that. As opposed to many other people who have made a huge group of amazing friends through the Harry Potter universe. That has never quite been the case with me, which is not to say that I haven't made friends through Harry Potter. I've made amazing friends, just very few, and not in a way that I would say that Harry Potter is everything that connects us. Um, my actual experience of Harry Potter, I've never really actually shared with anyone. Harry Potter, the experience of Harry Potter, reading Harry Potter, all of it, the whole reception is just so intimate and so private to me. Um, and with the adaptations back in the day, it was just like, well, that adaptations, who cares? I know the real story. I've experienced it with my friends, the Harry Potter people inside the book. Um, but here, I had to find all of this out, not on my own, but with other people. And unfortunately, the crowd that I had in my theatre was very loud and kind of, I would say, infantile when I took this film very, very seriously. Um, for example, when the Rumpant breaks loose and Newt wants to catch it and kind of performs this mating routine dance thing, people were cry laughing, and that was so annoying. I was like, this a serious scene. I mean, I guess it wasn't supposed to be a serious scene, but I was like, okay, wait a second, I haven't even gotten to know this character properly. Let me see how he approaches situations like these. The people were just also stupid. I'm so sorry if you were in the screening with me. Although I'm not sorry if you're one of the stupid people. No, I'm not sorry. So just my first experience has been so horrible. It's felt like such a huge invasion of privacy, and I'm not fond of that, as you can imagine. Luckily, I've seen it twice now, and the second time was better, but it still doesn't feel right to be seeing it with other people. It just doesn't. So these two issues have had a huge impact on how I experienced the movie. And unfortunately, I would say that overall, my movie going experience was not really positive. Although that is not to say that I didn't like the movie, which I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the way it is. Now that we have my personal issues out of the way, let's see if I can try and kind of wrap up my opinion about, like, the actual movie. I like the plot. People are criticizing the fact that the movie kind of feels episodic, which I think is a weird sort of criticism, and I think people are just trying to find mistakes by Jo, just, because they know she's never really written a script. But I don't think that's true. I think it was well written. I think the plot was nice. I loved the story. I loved the setup. I loved Newt coming to New York as an outsider. As an outsider of society in general, probably, no matter what kind of society. I loved his beasts getting lost. It didn't feel super weird. It felt like it made sense. I liked the way the characters got to know each other. I liked their chasing the beasts. I liked the way all of this intertwined with kind of the main story, if you want, or maybe the beast story. Good question, right? Depending on what you like better, with Credence and Graves and the Ministry and the general goings on in the wizarding world. I love that. I thought it was great. Did some things feel ex machina to me? The way they occurred and everything? I mean, yeah. Like the Thunderbird, using that Obliviate-like essence to make all the muggles in New York forget what just happened. Yes. Like Newt just suddenly figuring out who Graves is, that he's actually Grindelwald. Yeah. Missing links, like, what about the real Graves? Where is he? How did all of that happen? How did Grindelwald get into the Makusa? How did he manage to disguise himself? How did all of that, yeah, there are a lot of weird ex machina things. You know what would have solved this problem? You could have solved this easily, I think, by telling the story through a book. Things that seem weird, or I've always said this, even in Cursed Child, when people were like, this is happening too quick, these things are too out of context, they don't seem realistic. No, that's not true. All of it can seem realistic. This is a fantasy novel. Everything can seem realistic. You just have to have proper argumentation. With Cursed Child, I think it was a bit graver, just because we knew the characters and the world that they exist in so well. Here we don't really, but even there were things where people were like, and this is really just because we do not get enough explanation of anything, but we need that, and just a book could have given us that, and it didn't, because it's a movie. I like the themes. Child abuse is a crucial issue that more people should know about, and I'm happy that they dealt with it, and I'm happy mostly about the way they dealt with it. Not fitting in such an immensely important topic in the whole of the Harry Potter world, just wizarding world, and, you know, becoming important here again, and prejudice, everyone within the world judging Queenie and Newt and Jacob, and those were great themes. They were just so rushed, and they were so superficially dealt with, even though they were so good, and it makes you so sad. And you know what could have helped? A book could have helped. A book that tells that story, where you have paragraphs dealing with this, where you have good subtext dealing with this, not in a way that it's too inferred, but that it's explicit enough for you to understand what they're really truly trying to say, and how they're really trying to catch your attention and make you aware of these issues. And that was not the case here, but it would have been in a book. I like the characters. No, I love the characters. Newt is one of the best protagonists that I've seen in a very long time. Queenie is so amazing with that power that she has, that empathy that she has, at the same time understanding and, you know, knowing for sure that people reduce her to a pretty girl. Tina, who is so unsure about herself, but at the same time tries and tries again and knows that she has power to do important things. And Jacob, who's so warm, but at the same time so just great. I don't want to reduce him to this warmth, because it's not just about him being the comic relief or being funny. He was just a person who had so much in him, but I think that could have been more. And I've seen criticism for these characters, and that was that Newt was a bit weird and kind of cold, that Queenie was too sexualized, that Jacob was dumb and useless, that Tina was weak and stiff. And I personally do not see it that way, but I understand why people are coming from when they're saying this, because the opinions that I have formed, I think, are not very explicitly apparent in the movie. I think you have to watch closely to see the things that I've described. And that should not be the case. I should not have to do a lot of thinking, too much thinking, in order to understand the character's main personality traits. This should be apparent through dialogue, through developmental story arcs, through background story. We should have all of this info, and we don't. And you know how we could have got info like this? In a book where these things, especially with J.K. Rowling, are so well described. There is never a character description in the Harry Potter books that seems awkward. And there are so many, almost all books that I've read, the character descriptions, be they in terms of looks or personality, are so awkward. And you always feel like this is exposition. But with Joe, you never have that feeling. Joe just has this magical power to just describe, just for the sake of describing, not in order to show off the character. And this is not possible in a movie. And I understand from a storytelling point of view, as a person who's been studying movies for a while now, that this is not possible. I understand it. Especially here where, you know, again, the story is quite big. You have a lot of characters, a lot of issues and themes to fit in, so there isn't time to explore everyone in depth. I get it. But this is what I personally want and need from this story, from these characters, because I love them, but I could love them more and more deeply. And it makes me sad that I can't. I like the world building. I love the places, I love the buildings, I love how everything looks and feels. It feels real, but also constructed, but in a good way. It's so, the aesthetic is beautiful, but at the same time makes sense with the movies that came before. The beasts were amazing. The beasts looked awesome. First time I saw it, I thought I think it had to do with the cinema. I didn't think the screen was in perfect quality, even though it was supposed to be HD and it was in 3D. But then when I saw it the second time, the quality was really good and the details on the beast looked really great. But you know what could have made all of this even better? It's a book, because Joe Rowling has the greatest writing style and I love it, and I love her descriptions. I want 10 pages of descriptions of places the way it, you know, used to be in the series that I would read when I was sad as a kid. And you know, I wanted to bring a book. And then the only thing that a movie has that a book hasn't, and that it could have given me, it kind of messed up. The music. I'm a huge lover of music. I appreciate music greatly, and the music here I thought was never appropriate. There were no strong themes. The music was way too flimsical for a movie of that darkness. You know, I thought the composer was okay at kind of imitating John Williams, but I didn't want Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone music. I kind of wanted Half-Blood Prince music. And we didn't get that. We got children's music, which is fine. I love children's music. It was just too lighthearted, and I didn't need lighthearted here. It wasn't a lighthearted movie, at least not all the time. I mean, Newt is actually getting tortured, and the music is way too dun 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 dun, and I'm like, no. Quiet, this is insane, what's happening here? Are you not understanding the world? Probably, maybe not, and that's bad. So I was not happy with the music, and unfortunately the composer is already on board for the sequel. But there you go. Apart from the music, as you can see, I really liked the movie. It's just that as a book it would have been a lot better. I missed the privacy that I usually have when I come and experience a new Harry Potter story, and I missed the depth that used to come with it, and it just felt like I got a summary of something that usually would be very long and very good. And I've used this metaphor quite a lot in the last couple of days, but it felt like coming home, but suddenly being blind in one eye and realizing there are like loads of strangers in your living room. And ideally, this would not be the case. So something I will definitely do next time is, I'm sure there will be a script coming out at the same time with the sequel as well as this one just came out today. And I will read the script first. I don't care if I have to wait a couple of days before I see the movie. I need my private experience. And once I've read that, I will try and find a screening either early in the day or late in the evening where there's next to no people, so I have kind of a quiet experience of that movie and can make it as private as possible, because that's what I need from my world where I escape into. That's what I need. I do not need the weird collective crazy experience. I need it to be my own. Yeah. let me know in the comments what you think, if you've had similar issues, if you had completely different issues, if you had no issues at all and thought it was the best movie ever, which I've seen a lot of people say that, which is amazing. And yeah, just I'd really like to know your opinion. As always, you can like the video if you liked it. You can subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of me and children's entertainment, and of course Harry Potter. You can follow me on Twitter or on Tumblr for regular updates on my videos and children's media. And thank you so much for watching all of this.